So, hello everyone. My name is Amardeep Singh. The subject of my presentation is risk and hazard management. I have chosen to speak about this subject because in our daily life we are engaged in different types of activities, and we are surrounded by possible hazards and risks to our life. So, it's important part of our life. In my agenda, I will discuss about what is hazard and risks, the past historical data, the identification process of risk and hazards, and the hierarchy control of risk and hazards. And in the last, there is an interesting question. Now I will discuss the term hazard and risk. Any source of possible damage, injury, or bad health consequences on something or someone is considered a hazard. On the other hand, risk, when a person is exposed to a danger, there is a risk or likelihood that he or she may be injured or suffer an undesirable health outcome. It can be a death, it can be an injury. It might also apply to instances involving the loss of property or an equipment, as well as the negative environmental consequences. In the picture, we can see these are the basic risk and hazard on a construction site. First one is falling from height, collision between machineries or equipment on a construction site, slips or an electrical fault in the equipment or on a floor. In this slide, I will discuss the past data and statistics related to deaths and injuries in Ontario at the workplace between 2017 and 2020. As we can see, the from 2017 to 2020, the number of deaths in Ontario at the workplace is between 0 to 50. So it remains unchanged throughout these years. But the number of injuries from 2017 to 2019 uh, is quite high, is around the 320, between 300 and to 350. But after 2009, it increases to it increases and cross 350 injuries per year in Ontario. So now I will discuss the most dangerous risk and hazards on a construction site. So first one is the confined spaces. In confined spaces, the people work in a very close spaces where there is less oxygen and unable to breathe properly. And so in the middle picture, it shows the people working at heights faces a dangerous risk because the person from which he or she died, the rope may can be fail. And in the last, working in trenches is also considered a dangerous risk because it can collapse any time, and the person can may meet with injuries or death at the construction site. So now I will discuss the most important part of my presentation is the identification process of risk and hazards. So in very first step, the is the in very first step, identifying the hazards on a workplace is very important. So I can explain with the help of example. In the normal life, we use a ladder to work at heights or assemble something at heights. So in ladder, the person standing at the ladder, the step should not be uh, broken. The rubber should be properly fitted to the ladder at the bottom. And while working at the top, the person should not be standing at the top because there is a high chances of uh, falling from top and get injured. And in the middle of the ladder there is a joint, that is the joint. The ladder should be always fully opened and jointed. In the next step, after determining the hazards, there is a such chances of injury or illness or severity events. So we have to determine the likelihood of harmness of the hazards. In the middle, it's the necessary actions are the very important actions to eliminate the hazards and control the risks. And after a necessary action, we have to examine or monitor the necessary action we would take, and uh, as it is effective or not. And in the last, we have to try to documentation the risk and hazards, keep any document or record that is necessary for any future consequences. In this slide, I will discuss the hierarchy of control. So there are five major controls we can use at the construction site or any site. These are elimination, substitution, engineering control, administrative control, and the PPE, personal protective equipment. So elimination and substitution are the most effective hierarchy of control. It is the earliest stages of elimination, the risk and hazards. In engineering control, refers to plant, equipment, ventilation system, and processes that are designed or modified to decrease the sources of exposure. Well, in administrative control is that how work is done, such as work scheduling policies. We have to look into the policies and other operating procedures, including training, the housekeeping, and so on. And in the last, which is the least effective, we can use to control risk is PPE, personal protective equipment, is worn by person to limit chemical exposures or any noise or any body harm exposures. So here is come the interesting question of my presentation. Can anybody identify hazards in the given picture? So there are a few hazards I can identify. The first one is the person who is spraying the chemical is can affect his body to his leg, can cause injuries or some type of rashes into the body. The second one, the person did not wear any equipment on head, so the fumes can uh, interact with the noise and can damage his noise. And after that, the person wear shorts can easily harm by the chemical which is he spraying. And after that, the electrical equipment which he is using is open and the wiring is also open, we can say. And the last one is the chemical is peeling onto the floor. So this is the major five hazards in the given picture I have here. So in conclusion, I would like to say safety is our first priority. By following these previous instructions, we can easily prevent risk and hazards in our workplace as well as even in our routine activities. So thank you so much for listening my presentation and my notes. So any questions regarding my presentation? Thank you.